I, prayed to God. I was like, Lord, if this is my time, like, hurry up and get it over with, because I am sick and tired of sitting in this car. Like, I do not want to just to burn up and be remembered like this. I just want it to be over. Hi, I'm Harli White, and I am a survivor of a horrific race car accident. I grew up in a small town called Lindsay, Oklahoma. It has about 3,000 people. So the racing bug, as you call it, I was brought up around racing my entire life. From the time I was an infant, my dad started out motocross racing when he was a teenager, and his dad raced stock cars. And then my uncles all got involved, and we just went as a family. We went to the dirt tracks all across Oklahoma and southern Texas, traveling around as a family. And I was a little bit of a tomboy, so I played with race cars growing up, Hot Wheels and things like that. And I really wasn't intrigued with Barbies or most of the stuff that girls are intrigued with. I love to get dirty, and I love to basically be a grease monkey and wrench on cars with my dad and climb all over them, in them, on top of them, and taught me at a very, very young age how to go fetch him tools, and showed me, what is a screwdriver, what is a wrench, and all the different sizes, and taught me how to read tape measure and things like that. The age that I began to go with my parents and my family racing was probably 4 or 5 years old. And then I started actually wrenching on things at about 8, 9, 10 years old. Whenever I was 11 years old, I was at a race with my dad. And then I see little kids like my age running around in racing suits. So I was like, Dad, what? There's kids racing. Like, why can't I race? He said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to race. And I helped him race. And he said, if you can find a car around here for sale, we'll go and look at it tomorrow. And then that's kind of where my journey started. Saturday rolls around, April 5th, 2008, my first race. We all load up, we get my car loaded up, and we all head north. We head to I-44 Speedway, and they said you need to add like a letter or a number, just duct tape to your car. And I said, okay, well, one's easy. So I was 117W that night. And I tell you what, that number has a curse. We go out on the racetrack and I make hot laps. Went great. I go out on the racetrack. I have my first race, which was my heat race. I really don't remember exactly how I did then. That's kind of a blur. And then the feature race that I was in, the B main. And mind you, like, these cars are 600 mini sprints. They have a 600cc crotch rocket motor in them. So it's like a Honda or a Yamaha that's come off of like a crashed bike. And the motor's set in the left side of the car. So like you only can get in and out of the left side of the car. And then you have a wing on the top and then a full panel on the right side. So your only way in and out of the car is through the left side. So I knew all this. I knew what to do in case of an emergency, in case of something bad happens. And so in that B feature event, I was racing with kids my age. So the age gap was 12 to 16 years old. So I was 12. And I remember like getting up a little high off of one of the corners. And then I remember hitting the wall a little bit. And the next thing you know, I'm on fire. So as soon as the crash happened, hit the wall, car lands on its left side, and then it just immediately burst into flames. No rhyme or reason, like a little bit, like pretty much a freak accident. I mean, it was just nothing could have prevented it. It was going to happen. So as the car bursts into flames, I'm obviously stuck inside of the car. I do go through the motions, flip off the switches, and I instantly feel like this intense like coolness, like to the back of my back and my butt, and the back of my legs and things like that. I felt like an instant coolness. So my first instinct was, to take my helmet off because I couldn't see what I was doing. I couldn't see if my belts were undone. I couldn't see a way out. I couldn't see how to get out of the car because by this time the whole race car is on fire. And by this time, probably all the fuel was run out onto the ground and onto me. After I took my helmet off, I remember them spraying me with fire extinguishers, and of course, I closed my eyes. And then the horrible stench of like burning skin and burning hair just like overcome me. And the thing that still gets me today is my dad yelling at me to get out of the car. And I can, you can always hear your parents' voices over everyone. And he is just like, he is beside himself. Like, he can't even really understand what he's saying. I, prayed to God. I was like, Lord, if this is my time, like, hurry up and get it over with, because I am sick and tired of sitting in this car. Like, I do not want to burn up and be remembered like this. I just want it to be over. And I closed my eyes for a split second. Like, I swear to you, it was like a second. And then next thing you know, I open my eyes and I'm laying on the ground next to the car. And I remember opening my eyes as I'm laying on the ground, and I see this like figure of a person like running at me. And I'm like, what the heck is that guy doing? And he jumps on me, and my legs were still on fire. And he put my legs out. And then I was laying there, and my dad was over the top of me and a couple other people. And I went to like move to roll over to like spit the fire extinguisher stuff out of my mouth. And everyone is yelling at me like, no, don't move, don't move, don't move. And my dad like pushed him off of me, and he said, let her roll over. I was actually in the car for almost like 8 minutes. So getting to the hospital, like, they couldn't do anything for me in the emergency room. Like, the only thing they could do was, do a CAT scan to see if I had any broken bones. And I remember that. And then I remember laying in the hospital bed. I underwent 3 skin graft surgeries, and come to find out I was burned 45% of my body, deep 3rd-degree burns. 3 of those were skin graft surgeries. And then that was during the 21 days in ICU that I spent was for the skin graft surgeries. And I was actually turning 13 soon. I mentioned that my birthday was in April. So my birthday was on April 24th. So I was just out of ICU, and they wheeled me up in my hospital bed to the top floor of the hospital, where all of my family and friends had a surprise birthday party for me. During the time of my accident, the recovery process, I remember breaking down into tears over a card that one of my classmates had sent me. And it was like a singing card, and it was singing to me. And this is the first time I ever cried, like, during the whole thing. And I was already out of the hospital. I was at our apartment in Galveston, and I was bawling. And my mom was like, really, what is wrong? Like, I was like, I'm just so thankful, and I can't believe everyone cares about me. I was just sobbing. And it was unlike me to be emotional. And then the next breakdown I had, I was bawling because I didn't think my hair was going to grow back. And then this whole time, like, I asked my dad, is the race car fixable? Can we fix it? Can we go racing again? And then, of course, my parents immediately like shut me down and said, no, we're not ever racing again. I have actually won a lot of races in my career. My first year racing, in 2009, I had 4 wins, which is a lot. After I'm back racing, mind you, I'm 13, and it's, 2009, I finally learned who survived, like, who was my hero. I finally learned who pulled me out of that burning race car that night. And his name was Donnie Ray Crawford. He was about 5 or 6 years older than me. And he was actually a very famous race car driver. He is my hero. I owe everything to Donnie Ray Crawford. He saved my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. I have always, been the one to have a lot of confidence, but I mean, confidence is everything in a woman, especially in today's day and age. And having the scars and being stared at daily, and just dealing with that as a child, as a young teenager, and then growing up to be a young adult and turning 16 and having boyfriends and things like that. It truly was an eye-opener that something was different with me. My physical appearance was a little bit different because I have scars now, and I would catch a lot of people staring. I just always thought of it as they're staring because they want to know. They're curious. They want to know what happened. Sharing your story can help many, many people, and I always encourage everyone to share your story. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that it touched one of you in some shape or form. I'm truly blessed to be here and still motoring on, still racing to this day. I love every second of it. I would not change anything that happened to me. And you can follow my racing journey today on Harli White Racing Facebook page, as well as my Instagram and my Twitter, and all social media tags are Harli White. Follow me along and see what journeys I can take you on in my racing career.